Hi, welcome to today's session. As always, I'm your host, Kevin Grote, Technical Partner Manager here at VMware. And today, we're going to be continuing on with our discussions about VSAN 6.1. As I was looking through the content, the things that I would like to bring to you, I realized there was so much inside of the information, the announcements for VSAN, that it really needed to be broken up into multiple categories. And this was one that I almost overlooked. And so I wanted to make sure that you didn't. So today we're going to be talking about the health and monitoring changes inside of VSAN 6.1. A lot of these I'm pretty excited about, and I'm sure you're going to like them too. So, big change inside of VSAN 6.1 is the fact that the Health Check plugin is now available directly inside of vCenter. Let's take a closer look. We can see that the Health Check plugin being inside of this space now allows us to do things like periodic health checks. It's able to look for health check failures, and those can be triggered and also trigger corresponding health and alarms inside of vCenter. We provide support for SNMP traps if you're going to leverage those inside of this space. And also, you can leverage VSAN Health Check to provide emails utilizing vCenter alarms. So all of those cool features and functionalities that you had inside of the alarms within vCenter can now be integrated and leveraged directly with VSAN. So you no longer have to have this huge outlay or even an upfit into VRealize operations in order to have some scope into what's going on inside of your VSAN data center. So this plugin is far more than what would initially meet the eye. So being able to take smaller deployments and have some scope into what's going on with VSAN right inside of the space is huge. And also a big point of differentiation between VSAN and other enterprise storage deployments. But the health information doesn't just stop there. Let's take a look at more. Health check information also supports stretched clustering. So in the previous session, which you can get to here, you see we talked about stretched clusters. Stretched clusters being able to give us the ability to stretch vSAN not only between individual clusters within a data center, but even between different data centers. Now the Health Check plugin is capable of monitoring those stretched clusters just as if it were one single VSAN cluster. So what does it do? It allows us to look at witness host configuration, because again, we have to make sure that that witness is up and running because it's being used as a quorum, and also it's being used as a voting mechanism in the event of a failure. It's able to monitor network configurations between the stretched clusters, host compatibility, and also the configuration of the fault domain. We remember that the stretched cluster was really just an evolution of the fault domain into production utilization of VSAN. So it only makes sense that being able to monitor it, we are also ensuring that we're monitoring not just the production capabilities, but also the availability, networking performance, witness inside of the fault domain as well, to ensure that everything is being aligned properly at all times. And you can also bubble this up into an email if you need to, leveraging the triggers, or like we said, even using an SMP trap. And all of this is resident right inside of vSphere. There's more. Health Check also allows you to do proactive tests inside of the environment to be able to determine whether or not you're going to be able to effectively spin up a virtual machine inside of this space. Or even be able to determine multicast performance or storage performance, to determine if you have unstable I/O loads inside of virtual SAN. And all of this functionality, again, being brought to you right inside of the vSphere web client, so that you're not having to leverage additional tools in order to gain this level of insight. The new tool also allows for an on-disk format upgrade. What this really means is it gives you the ability to perform an on-disk format upgrade from 5.5, which was format version 1, into VSAN FS, which is format version 2, directly from the UI. So if we think about the types of format upgrades that exist inside of our storage infrastructures today, very seldom are any of them this easy. So now not only are we able to scale, stretch, but we're able to monitor natively inside of vSphere, proactively act upon alerts, triggers, and traps that are being sent to us, and to be able to perform in-place on-disk upgrades to the system from version 1 to version 2, and to do it all directly within the UI. Virtual SAN health and monitoring also includes a new operations management pack for VSAN. If you were anything like me, you probably thought, well, wasn't that something that was there already? Yeah, but it wasn't. But now it is. So now, beyond just looking at what's happening inside of the host and the virtual machines, we can see what's happening inside of virtual SAN. Let's take a closer look. So the virtual SAN management pack for ops is a clear integration, and it gives us things like a global view, health monitoring, availability, performance monitoring, even capacity monitoring and planning. So let's double click into that global view and see what that means to us. So the global view is giving us the ability to have vision and insight across multiple virtual SAN clusters for monitoring and alerts and notifications. So this isn't just for a space where you might be using a stretch cluster, because remember, a stretch cluster is really going to be perceived as one virtual SAN cluster when it comes to monitoring. But the global view will allow you to see multiple virtual SAN clusters. So yes, I guess you could kind of nest that idea and say you could see multiple stretched clusters inside of this space as well. And again, all of this is happening natively inside of the web client, which is really exciting. So if we look further into capacity and monitoring integration with ops, we see even more that it can do. The performance monitoring is going to allow us to check for things like latency, right down to the disk group level, as well as CPU memory and potential congestion metrics. So we have to remember, because virtual SAN is living at the kernel, it's living at the host. So we need to be able to check and monitor right down to the host level, right down to the VM level, to ensure that what's happening inside of the machines is not impacting what's going on inside of virtual SAN, and vice versa. Additionally, we have new planning capabilities inside of ops. Let's look closer. With virtual SAN 6.1, we can now monitor disk usage and SSD wear out across all of virtual SAN hosts, and also use advanced capacity planning based upon what-if scenarios, historic demand, and also stress trends. So what does this mean to us? Well, it means that we're able to see what's happening in virtual SAN today. We're able to predict what will happen with virtual SAN. And if you look more into VRealize Ops, we're also able to commit these what-if scenarios and actually create these points of impact so that we can backfill that vacuum with infrastructure. And we're able to predict what's going to happen in the future. So these integrations with health and monitoring are allowing virtual SAN to be far more than an enterprise-grade, highly performant storage platform. It also allows it to be aware and exposed all the way from the web client through integrations with ops, so that we can predict and forecast and determine what's going to happen next and be ready for what's next. There's some great ways to get started with virtual SAN. Be sure to check out the hands-on labs, check the links here, and also remember that there's a 60-day evaluation on all VMware products, so go ahead and download it today. Fire it off inside of your own system, and be sure to check out the virtual SAN playlist provided by the fantastic engineers here at VMware that walk you through this. There's a ton of information on virtual SAN, and it is really that easy to set up and really that powerful when you configure it. Be sure to also check out the other videos around stretched clustering overviews and some of the integrations with VRealize Ops. I hope you found some value in today's session. Thanks as always for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you really soon. Have a fantastic day.